Welcome to my gearing guide for update 35 for the 3-mans and the 6-man tier 1 through tier 5, Sandlore, Tauriskar, the 2 new 3-mans, and Sagroth, the new 6-man. In this guide, I'm going to look at exactly what upgrades are available for your class from these instances. We're going to start by looking at the essences that you can get from these instances. The Lively Teal Essence was the best essence until this update, but it's still a really good essence, the second best essence available. These essences can drop from the 3-mans from tier 2 through tier 5, and on the 6-man on tier 1 through tier 5 from boss 1, and from boss 2 of the 6-man you can get it from solo all the way through tier 3. The brand new Vivid Teal Essence, the best essence in the game, is currently only available from tier 3 through tier 5 6-man boss 2 with a 4 to 14% drop chance. It's the very best essence in the game currently, and obviously once we get the raid it's probably going to drop from the raid. But for now, the only way to get the best essence in the game is the 6-man boss 2 tier 3 through tier 5. The Portents also drop from this cluster. From the new 3-man Sandlore, you can get it from boss 2, tier 3 through tier 5. From the other 3-man Tauriskar, you can get it from boss 2, tier 5. Possibly also tier 4, it's a bit unsure because the data wasn't really available. But they do drop from both the 3-mans. And from the 6-man tier 3 through tier 5 on boss 2, you can also get the Portent. The drop chance is really low though, 1.5% drop chance, and it's random which one you get. With this update we also get new food recipes. Now the purple recipes that can drop right now are improved from what we currently have in the game, and as you can see from the tooltips, you can also eat this food in battle. So if you die and you get rest, you can eat this food and get back into battle. So the way it currently works, if you're lucky enough to get one of these drops, you will get either this one or this one or this one or this one. There's 4 different recipes that you can get, and once you get it you can craft how many you want. These recipes currently drop from tier 5 3-mans and from both the 3-mans and the 6-man only on solo and duo with a 2% drop chance each chest. So if you want to get these new purple food recipes, you either have to do the 3-mans and 6-man, either solo or duo with a friend, or you'll have to run the 3-mans on tier 5. We also have the brand new teal recipes. So same thing here, I assume these recipes are 4 different outputs. Currently they're only available in tier 5, boss 2 of the 6-man with a 2% drop chance. And once this video goes live, we just got tier 4 unlocked. So we'll still have to wait a bit for tier 5, but these recipes should also drop from the raid when we get the raid. But as you can see, these are 2-hour duration and also persist through defeat. So really good, let's call it raiding food. Really long duration, and also you don't lose it if you die. We also have the Crimson Thistle that drops from every chest, 3-man and 6-man, but only a 1% drop chance. And I believe this item is used probably to craft the teal food. If you get these items, make sure that you stock up on them and just save them for future use. And of course, with new content, we're going to see Enhancement Runes dropping. In this cluster, we have both purple, teal, and gold Enhancement Runes dropping. The purple Enhancement Runes can drop from 3-mans, solo, tier 1, tier 2, and boss 1, tier 3. From the 6-man, solo, duo, and tier 1 boss 1. The teal Enhancement Runes drop from the 3-mans on tier 3 boss 2, tier 4, and tier 5 boss 1. The teal Enhancement Runes drop from the 6-man, tier 1 boss 2, tier 2, tier 3 boss 1. And the only way to get gold Enhancement Runes from the 3-mans and 6-mans is from the 3-mans, tier 5 on boss 2 from both of the 3-mans, or from the 6-man tier 4 both chests, or tier 5 boss 1. When it comes to Traceries, there are only 2 ways to get Traceries in this cluster so far. Teal Tracery drops from the 6-man tier 3 boss 2, and a gold Tracery drops from the 6-man tier 5 boss 2. For Beorning, for the earrings that drop from 3-man's boss 2, tier 3 through tier 5, I've put up 3 different sets here on the right. The far right one is the Crit Mastery set that I would recommend for red Beorning. As you can see, the set bonuses are the same for every earring, and you want to get 1 earring from each of the 3-mans to make a set. So far right, Crit Mastery, I recommend for red Beorning. The middle set with Crit Finesse, I recommend for yellow Healing Beorning. And the far left, you can consider if you're a blue tank Beorning with the Will, Finesse, and Fate. But you can also consider using the Crit Finesse as a tank as well, if you don't need the little bit of attack mid you get from this Will set. When it comes to the Beorning offhand, you can get it from the 6-man boss 2, tier 2 through tier 5. And I prefer this teal club, really nice stats for a healing Beorning. And if you're a tanking Beorning, these are the alternatives if you want to weave these into your set bonuses. These are probably the best tank pieces you can add to your gear, so that's up to the tanking Beorning to decide. For the Brawler, we have the same 3 earring sets. Far right, Crit Mastery is the obvious choice for red Brawler DPS. And for tanking Brawler, I would recommend the Crit Finesse is really good for any tank, high vitality, but if you feel like you need a little bit of attack mid from this Will, and the Fate is always nice for power, you can choose between these 2 sets, either Crit Finesse or Will Finesse Fate, depending on your playstyle and stat requirements. As a blue Brawler, if you're using the blue 4 set, these are the pieces you can weave into your gear if you want some extra stats. So as a tanking Brawler, just look at these, see if they can improve your gear. As a red Brawler, I think red Brawlers currently run 4 red and 3 yellow. But if you don't have like a 4+3 set, these are good alternatives for DPS armor to weave into your armor. The Brawler teal class item drops from the 6-man Sagroth, boss 2, tier 3 through tier 5, and drop chance depends on the tier. And it's quite obvious, left one is for DPS, right one is for tank. If you want to upgrade your class item, aim for the 6-man. And with the release of tier 4 today, we can now acquire the gold class items. 6-man boss 2, tier 4 and tier 5 has a 13% drop chance for the Brawler gold class item. And when it comes to the Burglar and the earrings, I think most Burglars are really overcapped on Finesse already, so I would recommend the Crit Mastery with the high vitality for a Burglar. But if for some reason you're low on Finesse, the Crit Finesse is a good option. And if you're playing yellow Burglar and you're wearing the 4th set for yellow, and if you don't want the other 3 sets from the blue or the red set, then these are some good options to get 3 armor pieces other than your 4th set for yellow. And of course, if you're wearing the gold cloak with the class essence, then you can probably choose 2 of these to fill your armor slots. The best Burglar offhand is by far this dagger that can drop from the 6-man boss 2, tier 2 through tier 5. And when it comes to the Burglar class item, the teal one, you can get it from the 6-man, and I see that I've made a little small mistake here. You can get it from the 6-man boss 2, but tier 3, tier 4, and tier 5. Not just tier 3 as I put here. And the drop chance changes depending on the tier. And if you look at the 4 different options, the only difference between the ones on the left are of course the fellowship maneuver thing, but also the 3 left ones all have mastery on them, and the right one has fate. I would recommend getting the mastery output, one of the left ones. The left ones also have slightly lower finesse, but I don't think that's important. I would still recommend going for one of the mastery outputs. And the Burglar gold class item can drop from boss 2 of the 6-man tier 4, tier 5, 15% drop chance. And with the stats, we have the same thing. Right one has slightly higher finesse than the other 3, and it has fate versus mastery. I would still recommend just getting the mastery output. For captain, these are the earrings I would recommend. For a red captain, the crit mastery is the obvious choice. And for a tanking or healing captain, crit finesse is really nice, high vitality, useful stats. And the tanking captain can also consider getting the will finesse fate if you need a little bit of mitigations. and if you really don't care about the crit. As a yellow captain, you obviously want to use your force set, but other than that, you have 3 slots available, or 2 depending if you have the yellow cloak, and these are the best tanking items I would put into my gear as a yellow captain if you have open slots. Same thing goes for red cappy. You probably want to have your force set, probably the class cloak with the gallant display essence, but for some really good stats, these are your options for new gear. Same thing for blue captain. Other than set bonuses from Hidden Horde armor, these are your options for healing gear. I didn't really look at the will gear. It's possible some of the will pieces are good for healing, but I'm assuming that the might healing ones are just better in general. When it comes to the Captain Teal class item, obviously you get it from the 6-man boss 2, tier 3 through tier 5. The left one is the obvious DPS red cappy, the right one is healing cappy, middle one is the tanking cappy, but if you go for the middle one, tank cappy, yes, you do gain some mitigations, but you lose about 10k morale compared to the crafted cappy class item. If you don't care about morale, go for this. If you want the extra morale, keep the crafted output. But of course we have the gold class item for captain, boss 2 of the 6-man tier 4, tier 5, 15% drop chance, and an obvious upgrade in every slot. DPS captain, healing captain, and tanking captain should all be trying to get this gold class item. For a champion, the choice is pretty simple with the earrings. Crit mastery is the best choice for DPS by far. And for a tanking blue captain, you either go crit finesse or will finesse fate depending on your stat requirements. And as a blue champion, other than your Hidden Horde set bonuses, these are the best tanking items I would recommend that you put in your armor slots. I do believe most champions play with a 2-hander LI, but if you're a champion that dual wields, I think some red champions might dual wield. These are probably your options for dual wielding, and probably most people will just go for the might because it's a sword, and a lot of classes and races have sword bonuses, even though the stats aren't that great. But I think most people are using 2-hander, so this isn't such a big deal. But these are probably your options if you want to go for a dual wield build. And for your bow as a champion, 6-man boss 2, tier 2 through tier 5 drops these bows. Obviously for a DPS champion, you want to go for the left with the mastery and the crit. And if you're a blue champion, if you like playing blue champion, the might, tact, mit, evade is a pretty good choice for a tanking champion. The guardian is pretty much the same as the champion. Crit mastery for red guardian for sure. For the tanking guardian, crit finesse is really nice, high vitality. But if you're lacking mitigations, I would recommend the will finesse fate. So either of these two for your tanking guardian, and then DPS guardian, crit mastery. Once you get your force set as a blue guardian, you have 2 or 3 slots for more armor, and I would recommend using these pieces for your open slots for more stats that you need as a tank. Same thing goes for red guardian. Once you get your force set, you probably want to get some more stats, and these items are really good options for that. The guardian shield I would recommend drops from the 6-man boss 2, tier 2 through tier 5. Really nice guard shield. And for your bow as a guardian, left is for red guardian with mastery crit, right is attack mitigation, high vitality for your tanking guardian. As a hunter, there's really only one choice for your earrings. The crit mastery from both the 3-mans is by far the best choice as a hunter. And the best new offhand for the hunter is the axe, the teal axe, dropping from 6-man boss 2. Has really nice stats, crit rating, mastery, anything you want as a hunter, by far the best choice. And for your class item, the hunter teal class item drops from boss 2, tier 3 through tier 5. I will recommend this output. There's another output with fate instead of crit rating, but I think the crit rating is just much better. So this would be my recommended class item for hunter. And of course, the same thing will be said for the gold hunter class item. Only a 8% drop chance though. I'm not sure why their drop rate is so low compared to other classes. But same thing for the gold class item. I recommend the crit output over the fate. When it comes to the lore master, you have a few options. On the left, you can just go the sturdy build, high vitality, get some finesse, get some nice fate. and will, I would probably just recommend this for yellow LM, the left one. As a DPS lore master, you have two options, either the crit will vitality or the vitality crit finesse. Obviously, if your finesse is already high enough, you will go for the middle one with the extra will and the crit. And if you're lacking finesse, the obvious choice is right one for crit finesse. And for the lore master offhand, I think the sword, the will vitality outgoing healing sword, is the best from the 6-man boss to tier 2 through tier 5. This would be my preferred choice for LM offhand. When it comes to the lore master teal class item, we have 3 different outputs, and once again, 2 of these are the same. The only difference to the left one is the left one has crit rating, while the other 2 have fate. And as the yellow lore master, obviously fate is really nice, getting more power. You could consider the left one for a DPS lore master with red, but just in general, I think the fate output is just better for LM. And when it comes to the gold class item for lore master, we once again have 3 outputs, but this time all 3 are slightly different. But once again, I would recommend the one with the extra fate for a yellow lore master. And if you're a DPS LM, probably go for the crit will output. For a minstrel and their earrings, I think the best by far is probably far right, high vitality crit finesse. If your finesse is already really high, you could consider getting the middle one with crit will. And the far left one is just for finesse and high vitality and getting some extra fate. I don't think you should consider the left one as a minstrel. The middle one for DPS if you have enough finesse. But if your finesse is not that high, then far right for red minstrel by far, and also for blue minstrel, getting some extra finesse is really nice as a blue mini as well. So I probably didn't even have to feature these 2, because I think for minstrel, the far right is by far the best choice. And for a minstrel shield, I put the outgoing healing crit rating shield. And come to think of it, there's probably a DPS output as well that would be an upgrade, but I didn't feature it. But for a healing minstrel, I would get this shield, and there's probably a shield for DPS minstrel as well that you can get. And for the minstrel teal class item, you can see the middle one is for healing, 3.5% healing, the other ones are for DPS. The only differences between right side and left side are some stat differences, so just look at the stats, see which ones you need, and then choose either of these 2 for DPS, and for healing you choose the middle one. Same thing for the gold minstrel class item, middle one is obviously for healing, and then depending on your stat requirements, go either left or right for DPS minstrel. As a Rune-Keeper, I think the choice is pretty obvious here. You want to go far right with the crit finesse, high vitality output. I probably didn't even have to put up the other 2 if you want a little bit more power, but I think it's pretty simple. You're always going to need more finesse on a Rune-Keeper. Far right with the crit finesse is probably the best output for you. And when it comes to the Rune-Keeper teal class item, there's some debate about dropping the crafted class item for a Rune-Keeper healer, which gives a 100% initial prelude healing, I believe. But if we look at these items, what's the difference between the different outputs? The left one has a bit more mastery, so obviously built towards the DPS, and slightly more morale. The right one has outgoing healing, while the middle one has in-combat power regen. So at the current state of the game, I think the right one will just not be used, because you already have really high stats. The in-combat power regen seems really nice, honestly, for blue RK. Possibly also for red RK, because the stats aren't that much higher on the left one. I would probably recommend the lightning output for any Rune-Keeper with the in-combat power regen. And obviously for your gold class item, the same thing would apply. I will probably recommend, once again, the middle output, the lightning, for the in-combat power regen. When it comes to the Warden, for a red Warden DPS, you always want to get the crit mastery output. And for a tanking Warden, probably you're going to go for the crit finesse, and you would only choose the will finesse if you need some more attack mit. But since our stats are so high currently, the crit finesse is probably the best choice for tanking Warden, and DPS Warden will get the crit mastery. As a blue Warden, you obviously want to use the gold cloak with the mitigation bonus you get from the class essence. But when it comes to your armor pieces, You obviously want the 3 set from the Hidden Horde armor, and possibly also the 4 set from the Hidden Horde armor. That leaves 2 or 3 spaces where I would recommend adding these items, and probably the boots and the gloves are the 2 pieces you should add. And for your last piece, I think maybe the chest with the high vitality, but it also depends on the stats on the Hidden Horde armor that you lose. But for sure, the gloves and the boots are the 2 pieces you should add, and then one of the other ones for the 3rd piece if you don't use the 4 set. And for the Warden shield, the 6-man boss 2 has a Warden shield upgrade. Left one for DPS, Mastery, Finesse, some nice stats. And on the right side, some Tact Mid and High Vitality for a tanking Warden. And for the Warden class items, if we look at the differences here, the Spear Carving has Agility, while the Fist and the Shield has Tact Mid. And the only other difference is the Spear has Physical Mastery, Middle has In Combat Power Regen, and the Shield Carving has Physical Mitigation. So obviously the right one is aimed towards tanking with extra mitigations, but if you don't need the mitigations like the Fist mitigations, the In Combat Power Regen is a really nice option. You still get the Tact Mid. And for a DPS, you probably want to go with the Mastery on the left, but of course there's always the option of gaining some more In Combat Power Regen and some nice Tact Mid. So as a DPS Warden, either left or middle, and as a tank Warden, either right or middle. And the same thing applies here, same stat differences, only more slots with your gold class item. Thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing to help out the channel, leave a like, join my Discord, and I'll see you in the next one. If you're playing or looking to play Lord of the Rings online, there is one place you need to be. The Ghyniverse! The Ghyniverse is a community Discord server for the game Lord of the Rings Online. In this server, you'll find anything from giveaways. There's also a frequently asked questions channel that I would recommend checking out first. You'll be able to see when I put out new YouTube videos, whenever I stream. You can also ask for the streamer role, and you'll be able to post your own streams in this server for everyone to see. There's currently over 5,000 members in this Discord, and it keeps growing. You will also find discussion channels about the game, LOTRO. You can ask any questions in the help channel. There's discussions for every single class in the game and PvP. But one of the best things about this server is the best in slot items section. In this section you can find trait lines for every single class. You will find screenshots of the current best gear being displayed. In this channel you'll find charts showing what stats you need for your characters, mitigations, mastery crit, finesse, but you'll also find useful information about drop rates in different instances. I hope you will consider joining my server, and maybe one day I'll see you in Middle Earth.